Okay, so but how do we register or create those the instance of this tmy callback? So this is actually the purpose of a special component, or I can just go ahead and start to type. So this is a DataSnap server, so this is my DS client callback channel manager, is a component that is used to register callbacks on the client. So it has a number of properties. So first of all, there is a channel name. I'm going to call this channel DelphiLabs channel. Communication protocol is TCP/IP. The host name is our local host, so I can specify such a number. The port is 211, so that's quite a lot. And also what I'm going to do is I'm going to clear this manager ID value. Why I'm doing this? Later on, when I'm going to write code to notify this callback, I want that every instance of my client application has a different manager ID, so I can differentiate different instances. So that's I'm going to generate this manager ID in the onCreate event for this form. Okay, so I'm going to actually add this code. So events onCreate. So in the onCreate event of my form, I'm going to take this DS client callback channel manager and manager ID. I'm going to randomly assign something, but what I could use? I could have used, for example, a GUID generation, but DataSnap has its own method of generating unique IDs. So if we go into the client manager definition, and it's quite complex code, but inside its public constructor, we can see that manager ID internal value is generated by a call to generate session ID of a class called tDSTunnelSession. So let's have a look when this DSTunnelSession is defined. So this is a method inside of the DS service unit. DSTunnelSession has this generate session ID. So let me see if this is static method or not. So we see there this is a class function, so I don't have to instantiate this DS session class. So let me actually take this. Actually, we can see the implementation. It takes 3 random numbers from 1 to million and concatenate them together and separate with dots. So I'm going to copy this name. I'm going to actually use this code to generate a identifier for manager ID. Okay, so I need to also to add to the users clause. Actually, I can do it here, users clause, and I'm going to add a DS service unit so it can compile it. Okay, so in this way I can now generate a manager ID. So when I want to register callback, I need to call the same method of the same component called register callback. So this is an overloaded method. So it has 2 variants. I'm going to use this first one. So I need to specify a callback ID, and then I need to pass an instance of a callback that I need to construct. So I need to generate callback ID. So let me actually add a variable here, f callback ID of string type, and I'm also going to initialize it in the same way how I'm initializing my channel manager ID. Okay, so I will have my f callback ID equals, and I'm going to do the same thing as I did here. Okay, so now I have these 2 IDs generated, and now I can pass the name of the callback as the first parameter, callback ID, and I can actually create the callback instance on the fly, because it will be released by the callback manager, so I don't have to worry about it. So tmyCallback.create, and that should be fine. Okay, so at this moment, if I run my application, if it compiles and everything is fine, it is now able to receive callbacks. So how do I actually generate such a callback? In fact, I could now start a different project and connect to the same server and send callbacks, and this application could actually be able to receive it. But to make it simple, I'm going to implement broadcasting to channel to notify all the callbacks functionality in the same application. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to add to this form a button, T button, like this, and I'm also going to add a T-edit. So this is going to be my message. So button is going to be just has a caption, broadcast to channel. Okay, and need to make it bigger, and this in the edit I will have my message. So edit will be called not just edit, but I'm going to call it edit message, like this. Okay, so if I now double click on a broadcast to channel, then what next? I need to have a way to actually connect to the server. So typically what I'm using for DataSnap client applications, I'm using a T-SQL connection component. So that's my connection with the server I need to use. So I'm going to switch back to the bigger layout. Okay, and in my SQL connection I need to specify a driver. So this is going to be DataSnap, and login prompt to false, and also TCP/IP and 211 is correct. So now I should be able to actually connect to the server at design time. Okay, that's successful. So typically at this point we could have actually right click here and say generate DataSnap client classes. So but there are no server methods classes on the server, so there is no point of generating DataSnap client classes. So this actually I could do it just to demonstrate that nothing has been generated, only some units has been added. So I'm going to delete this unit because I don't need it. Typically the DataSnap proxy generator uses as its base class for a proxy class uses TDS admin client class. So this class itself has quite a lot of functionality. So I'm going to switch to the editor only, and I'm going to define the variable a client that is going to be of type TDS admin client. So this is a base class for all client proxies. Actually I need to specify where is the unit where it's defined. It is defined in DS proxy. So now I can use it. So I'm going to instantiate it and destroy in the same method. So I'm going to create an instance of this admin client. So I need to pass a dbx connection, which is a property of my SQL connection. Okay, now I'm going to have a try finally block because I need to make sure that whatever I'm doing, it is properly released, client free. Okay, so now this class, if I start typing, it will show me a number of different functionality. So one of it is broadcast to channel. So this is a method that I can just specify a name of the channel and a message, and this message will be broadcasted to the channel. Okay, so the channel name is actually the same channel as it is on my DS client callback channel manager. So I'm going to, this is actually in my case it was entered inside of the object inspector, is called DelphiLabs channel, but it just needs to be the same, it doesn't matter what it is. So, and the message to send is supposed to be a JSON value. So any JSON could be passed here. What I want to pass right now is just to pass a string, so I can basically dynamically generate a tJSON string, and it will have an value I can pass to its constructor, actually edit message.text, and in this way I should be able to, actually it does not need to be here, like this, and that should be fine. Okay, so let's see if our application is running. I'm going to run it. So if I start broadcasting to myself, it still works, but I can actually go ahead and open a second instance of this application, and I can just start broadcasting, but it just is possible to broadcast from one message to another message. In fact, it just does not work all the time, and close the program for problems. So let me see, I got some access violation. So I wonder what was the reason. Actually, it's maybe a good idea to restart the server and start it again, so we just basically can build old projects. That's fine. Okay, value execute might be not defined. Okay, that's the problem. I need to actually, in order not to crash the whole application, this function needs to return some value. So I'm going to just define a result that is going to be just whatever JSON. So for example, JSON true create. This has to be a JSON. So in this way our system should now run. Let me build all projects. I don't have any warnings. I should have checked warnings earlier. I'm going to run the server, and now I'm going to run the client, and it should now work as expected, and I can just create another instance of the client and see that I can actually now communicate. So these two different guys are actually communicating with each other. So that's actually the functionality of broadcasting to channel. If it's sometimes more useful to be able to actually notify a specific callback that are there on a specific client connected to the server. In this way, achieving a peer-to-peer communication model. So I'm going to add this functionality to this demo.